And for more, we say hello to our women's soccer expert, Clare Rustad. And Clare, as we just saw, Jordyn Huitema seems to have found that next step in her development this year. If she can stay on this form heading into the summer, do you think she's proven enough that she could be starting for Canada at the World Cup up top?
I really liked what she said in that segment about her goal with that move to the NWSL as being getting more minutes, because I think particularly at her stage of her development, that's one of the most important things. She needs more game time minutes to develop the fluidity of her game, get her more comfortable on the pitch, and I think it's done wonders for her confidence. You can see it in how she's playing now, and she's starting to produce for Oil Reign. And hopefully this is getting her closer and closer to being able to produce for Canada on the international stage, and for her to be that player that Canada can rely on the attack.
So if Jordyn can be one of those keys to Canada's attack, does that give Canada enough firepower to compete with some of the best teams in the world?
Yeah, I think I've been pretty fairly vocal about this over the years, about worrying about where goals are going to come from for this team, and when in the attack they're going to be as prolific as they are in the back, because certainly defensively this team seems to contribute to their depth more and more. I think the addition of Jade Rose is fantastic, but up front I still do wonder where those goals are going to come from and if Jordyn Huitema will be the answer. I think it's important to think of goals as not just one person, and the attack as more of a team approach. It's going to be a lot more about the chemistry of this team in the front three, where they're going to be able to find speed. If Nichelle Prince, Deanne Rose, Lacasse, Laracy, whether these players are going to be able to contribute significantly to the attack without significant international minutes over the last few months. Those are the questions that I think need to be answered. I think if Huitema keeps up with the form that she's in right now, she will certainly be a huge threat on set pieces, which has been a significant point of improvement for this team over the years. But it really, there's just so many questions left up in the air as to whether or not they are going to be able to compete offensively. And I think that their preparation leading up to the World Cup is going to be really important. Hopefully there are some closed door games that they will have arranged in that pre-tournament camp, because again, minutes are really important, and unfortunately some of those attacking players who they're going to need to rely on did not get a lot of minutes in the friendlies leading up to this tournament.
Now, Clare, on the flip side, Christine Sinclair has just one goal so far this season in the NWSL. How much added pressure is this to someone like Huitema if Christine isn't the focal point like she has been for nearly the last 2 decades?
Yeah, I'm not sure pressure is as much of an issue. I mean, Heidman's a professional soccer player. That you get used to pressure fairly early on, and it's not as though her career is starting right now. So I think when it comes to pressure, that's not necessarily as big of a factor. I think the thinking around what this team looks like without Christine Sinclair needs to change, and the one for one, plugging one player into that role. And it's not just with Sinclair; it's with other players on the pitch. Oh, who's going to be, the one for one swap for Desiree Scott when she retired? That type of thinking is, I think, detrimental to the team. I think we need to think of it as a team approach. So what does this attack look like without Christine Sinclair? Not just what does that one position look like, but does structuring the team and their formation around that prominent number 9, does that really work? Because Huitema doesn't necessarily fill that role exactly that like Sinclair does, and I think that the chemistry of the players around her is going to be very important. In particular, I think the focal point of this team is going to need to be, and will start to become more over time, Jessie Fleming. And the interplay between Jessie Fleming and whoever fills that role for Christine Sinclair as that target player is going to become even more important over time. And Fleming is such a creative player who needs a lot more freedom in terms of how she plays that position. You need that a little bit out of the number 9 as well, so that they can work off each other and play off of each other. And then again, like I talked about before, having some speed on the flanks, and having this be more of a cohesive approach from that front three, I think is going to be really important. And hopefully the goal will be more like, what does this team look like, as opposed to just what does that one position look like.
As always, Clare, thank you for this.